Soulmate love and obsession can be confused because of their intensity. 7 differences between soulmate love and obsession. Stay until the end of the video so you do not miss the 7 signs to differentiate between soulmate love and obsession. I really appreciate your support and time to watch the video. These 2 affective feelings can be confused because of their intensity. Soulmate love is such an overwhelming and intense feeling that it is usually difficult to recognize. When it arrives, the hormones in our brain begin to flood the nervous system in a very different way than they did before, and a new way of perceiving things takes control of what we do, what we believe, and what we say. Therefore, it is not easy to recognize the differences between the love of your soulmate and the obsession with a person. Both experiences share many elements, but confusing them can be very damaging both to our social life and to our own emotional health. Learn to recognize the feelings. Emotional intelligence consists, among other things, in knowing how to detect types of emotions and feelings that affect us on a daily basis, and in acting accordingly. It is a skill in which more and more emphasis is placed from the new educational models, but unfortunately, we adults are not exempt from the problems posed by the lack of ability in this class of capacities. Confusing the love of your soulmate with obsession, for example, is very common, and on many occasions, it is even believed that the love of your soulmate has many characteristics, as if the obsession were more love than love itself. Somehow, an idealized and highly toxic vision of romantic love can distort this concept so much that the pain and anguish produced by these types of relationships are perceived as something positive, part of the sacrifice that loving your soul is supposed to be. But this problem disappears if we know and understand well the differences between obsession and soulmate love, which are many and very relevant. Main differences between love and obsession. These keys can help you have a much richer and more rewarding emotional life and, incidentally, avoid toxic relationships. Number 1. Jealousy versus respect for someone else's space. When someone experiences love for someone, they do so by embracing the idea that the other person's life belongs entirely to the latter, and therefore does not even consider interfering in what the other person does. This, in turn, has another consequence, since what the other person does is the responsibility of the other person. There is no point in monitoring their movements or trying to put up barriers to their freedom. On the other hand, in the event that you feel an obsession for someone, the other person becomes a problem that feels like your own. This causes jealousy to appear. Number 2. That person treats you like an object, not like a human person. In obsession, each member of the couple is understood as the property of the other, which gives rise to very harmful paradoxes. Who has the right to decide what the other should do in what contexts? In the love of your soulmate, on the other hand, you never lose sight of the fact that the other is a human being, like any other, and that they should enjoy their rights and freedoms in their day-to-day life. Consequently, unilateral impositions cannot be accepted as normal. Number 3. Unhealthy exclusivity versus realism. Wherever there is an obsession with a person, there is the idea that the relationship with him is predestined to be exclusive. In other words, regardless of what the people involved want, they must create a kind of emotional bunker between them and never leave there. In the love of soulmates, on the other hand, the vision that one has on fidelity is much more sensible, since it is not based so much on exclusivity as a rule as on honesty and transparency. Here each one is committed, but it is assumed that there is no unbreakable norm about what the relationship should be, since it depends entirely on the people who compose it. Number 4. Based on low self-esteem versus based on the relationship. In obsession, the other person is perceived as an element that we lack and without which it is difficult to live. That is to say, the reason for the relationship that one seeks to have with someone is largely low self-esteem. In the love of soulmates, on the other hand, the other person is seen as something that complements us. Number 5. Search for substitutions versus acceptance. When a love relationship breaks down, acceptance comes after a period of grief. In the case of obsession, however, acceptance may take a long time to arrive or may not even occur, especially if psychological help is not available. Number 6. Blaming the other versus assume responsibilities. Another big difference between obsession and soulmate love is that in the former, the other person's lack of interest is used as a throwing weapon against them, and emotional blackmail is often attempted to make them feel guilty. This does not happen in the case of soulmate love, since it is understood that no one has the right to condition our freedom in that way. Number 7. Empathy versus patches for problems. Wherever there is soulmate love, relationship problems are solved through empathy and communication. On the other hand, people who are obsessed with others try to create a fiction that allows us to see that everything remains the same without having to face the root of the problem for fear of losing control of the situation. I hope these 7 signs have helped you to differentiate between soulmate love and obsession. Thank you for watching.